So today I have with me Mr. Sushant, founder for Gene Athletics, and a very different, very beautiful concept. I'm going to ask him a lot of questions. First of all, I think Sushant, I would like to ask you is why this particular name, Gene Athletics? What make you choose that kind of name?
First of all, thank you for inviting me for this wonderful session in the morning. So gene fretletics is actually linked to the entire mechanism of a human body, right? If you see, we are built out of genes we get from mom and dad, right? That's part of our body, but also we get genes from a lot of organisms living on inside our body. So gene fretletics means how we can actually understanding the genetic part, the genes expression part inside our body, right? And applying, data-driven insights to provide solution to pressing health issues. That's why gene fretletics. It means genetic plus fitness plus analytics. Right? So that's how the name goes.
Yeah. Oh, so it is analytics. I was thinking of athletics. Fit, then athletics, and genes. Yeah. So thank you very much. I think that was good. And Sushant, I was pretty much impressed, when I heard about your organization. I have been following this space quite a bit, and internationally also, I know some teams are being run on the same thing, and they are getting very good funding. This is something which is really hot and emerging, and also probably the right way. And this is what we are going to discuss in the call today. Probably this is the right way, or there is some other right way, but I think we have to brainstorm and see, what fit the human health side. Yeah. So now coming back to what I have been thinking, I have been a strong genomics guy, genetics guy, and we all know, every cell we have almost 3 billion base pairs, nucleotides, and almost 30,000 genes and almost 6 feet long DNA in every cell. So if you put length of all the cell DNA in all the cells together is somewhere around 575 billion kilometer. So मेरा जो focus था ना, that always has been on a human genome, human DNA.
Okay.
Contrary to that, I think you are saying that it's not our genes, it's actually microbe who are playing a big part. So how do you justify that?
Okay, so let us go back maybe 500 years back and see how it all started, right? So it was traditionally human beings have been nomads, right? And we have been wandering at various places, and usually we used to go in very small groups. So we were healthy. We never died of chronic diseases, right? Because whatever it came our way, we ate. Like we ate roots and plants, which was very high of fiber and nitrate, which made our gut lining healthy, and we never got developed these diseases. And then three things came into being, right? Agriculture, urbanization, globalization. So when agriculture came, so our cattle become domesticated, our crops become more predictable, right? And we formed a formal settlement, permanent settlement. And that's how we got in touch with Moran people. And that's how we started, exchanging a lot of organisms which are living on and inside our body, right? So we have around 100 trillion organisms, so I'll discuss a bit about later on the organism front. But so then came, privatization and globalization, right? And when the advancement in technology and the industry and economy took place, and a lot of people started moving from rural areas to urban areas, right? And then we started shrinking the area which is for agriculture production. So the procurement of foods went down, right? And there was an entirely environmental shift, right? And then because of this, we found it very difficult to actually get the right kind of food in the right kind of quantity, right? And then globalization came. We started traveling at different places in the world, and then we started exchanging organisms. That's where we started developing infections, right? Yeah. And then in 1674, there was a scientist, Antoine Leeuwenhoek. He told that he laid the foundation for germ theory, that all the organisms living inside our body are bad, right? Or maybe some are bad, some are good, but we don't know who are good, who are bad. So what should we do, right? And then what's a man-made disaster was there. Antibiotics and drugs was developed, right? And these drugs, we took this drug, and people were free of infections. But then they started developing chronic disease like metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes, right? And it had a lot to do with these bacteria and fungi and yeast and all these things living inside our body, right? So when this happened, right, there was another theory in 1989 by a British scientist which told that this hygiene theory has been bad, right? Because if you see from the child, if we are exposed to a lot of infectious microbes, our immune system develop, and we start taking care of our body, right, accordingly. So essentially 1990 was a time when your genomic sequencing came into being, right? And then we started sequencing human genome, which was very costly at that time, but still there was a lot of insights into clinical studies and trials, and a lot of R&D around which specific bacteria are there, how they are, or which specific genes are there, right? And our human genes have around 30,000 genes. But now here comes the very strange part, right? So every part of our body, head, hair, heart, eyes, has the same DNA, right? As you mentioned, there's a huge length, 75 billion length of kilometers what DNA in our body, has the same DNA, right? And so our eyes are on our mouth, our eyes doesn't come on our head, right? Eye doesn't come on our heart. So it's not about genes, it's about genes expression, right? So all the things which are there where they have to be, it's because of how those genes are expressed. And the strange part was that our body produced 25,000 genes, right, which we get from our mom and dad, right? But the microbes, right, living inside our body. I'll also share how microbes come into our body, right, the entire story. So the microbes which live on inside our body, right from hair, eyes, mouth, small intestine, stomach, large intestine, skin, vagina for females, everywhere in our saliva, right? They produce around 20 million genes. Right? So if you see by genetic expression or genes count, right, we are at best 1% human, at worst 0.1% human, right? So and these microbes, right, they actually make up 57% of our body's cells. So 57 of our cells in our body are foreign, not our own body, right? So they are the one who are taking all the decisions.
So
right?
what you are saying
right
is
from
57% of our body is actually other cells, other
made
things.
By microbiome, right? So it is bacteria, fungi.
So what you're trying to say is, if I am say 80 kg, so almost 45 kg is all microbes inside me. That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah, you can say, and probably the weight of your microbiome. I'll just talk about the gut microbiome, which holds the majority, 40 trillion microorganisms. Their weight is much than the weight of our brain, right? And right, so they are actually everywhere.
Okay.
So in terms of your body's physiology, right from the way you digest food, you get nutrients, the way your brain reacts to different foods, different incidents, your hormones, how your hormones and neurotransmitters are produced, right? For instance, serotonin, our happiness hormones, right? 90% of the serotonin is produced in gut, not in brain.
Okay.
So if you have to be happy, you have to feed them right. You have to take care of these bugs. So if you see, it's a another point here is, I'll say 2 points here. First thing is, we human beings were born around 100,000 years ago, right? But microbes, even before we were born, right, they were living in a lot of forest and plants and everywhere. So they were in this world for almost 40 billion years ago, right? So it is not we have created them; they have created us, right? So that's a very humorous story that they have created us. We actually feed them, right? They make us crave what they want. We feed them, right? And we poop everywhere. We spread them everywhere. So that's how we are helping them, grow. And if we feel that every decision is taken by brain, we are wrong, because the gut and brain talk to each other through vagus nerve. So brain tells your gut when the body is hungry, and brain tells when to start the digestive system. So it's a very symbiotic relationship. Okay? So it's the communication between the body, right? Is between your human and these microbes, between your microbes and the food you eat, right? And between the microbes and within the microbes, right? So essentially, let me give an example, because there's a lot of DNA testing happening, and so DNA tells our potential. DNA is a one-time test, because your DNA doesn't change from the time you're born to the time you die, right? So every time you go for a DNA test, you will have the same results, right? Because they are not decoding the genes expression. Let us take an example, right? So when we are born from during our childhood days, our mother tells us, have milk twice a day, right? And we are happily having milk, putting Bonvita and a lot of things inside the milk, and we are happy and really enjoy the taste, right?
Yeah.
Somehow now, if you see last 5 years, the ability of people to digest lactose, right, has gone down. So hardly 40% of the people in India, right, can actually digest milk. And it is not because, so it cannot be because of the genes. And leave 5% people, 5% may have that, lactose intolerance genetically because of from mother and father, right? That remaining 95%, right, people, when they had milk in their childhood days, they never had lactose intolerance, they never had headache and migraine and bloating issues and fatigue and everything, right? Now they are having, right? Why? It is not because of the genes, it is because of how your genes are being expressed, right? So genes expression are again linked to, so the science is, when you eat food, our small intestine doesn't have more than 45% digestive enzymes. So a lot of things, whatever small intestine does, they pass on to your large intestine. So I have done with it, because our body is dynamic. It will only absorb the food which it wants at that particular point in time. It goes to a large intestine, and these folks start, these microbes and bacteria and fungi and everywhere who is living in a large intestine, our gut, they start metabolizing the food and start releasing poop. Their poop is actually our nutrients, byproducts, and metabolites. Right? These metabolites can be healthy, like vitamins, minerals, short chain fatty acids, antioxidants, but can be bad, like they can release methane, ammonia, LPS, and bad toxins, which actually changes your genes expression. So it because another side, a lot of people don't know this, that 70% of the immune system is on our gut lining, right? And these bacteria are training our immune system. They are helping the immune system recognize whether this is a good thing coming, bad thing coming, right? How to react. So when they start releasing bad things, they send a message to to immune system through inflammasomes. There's a specific receptors which goes that, right? They tell something that do something, and they get into act. They start killing these pathogens. When they kill, they start doing inflammation, right? And this inflammation is nothing but the group of symptoms. So you have headache, you have excess urination, you have bloating, constipation, fatigue, eye inflammation. Anything is just an outcome of inflammation. And we club all these symptoms we classify as disease, right? Disease is nothing but discuss ease. Your body is not at ease, right? So essentially, our genes are there. It really help us, right? 25, but they are only 1%, right? 99% genes that are expressed are microbes. Right? So essentially, if we are,
So Sushant, I think science we can discuss for hours, and I'm sure the audience is also going to love it. Particularly the people who are from biology side, or healthcare or nutrition. But let's come to the next point where, how do you address this whole thing to treat or control chronic diseases?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened is, so when we let me go back again to the point where we started developing infections, and we develop antibiotics, right? And these antibiotics almost kill mostly. So one cycle of antibiotics kills 70% of your microbes inside your body, right? So when they started killing, so we got rid of infection. We started developing, chronic disease. So these microbes digest everything. When they are digesting, so it's not about good bacteria and bad bacteria. It's about what they are doing inside your body, right? So essentially, depending on the environment they live in. So simple example, right? I may be a boss in my office. I may be a cook in my house, right? It's the same thing, depending on the environment, they will do bad stuff. They will do good stuff. So when they start doing bad stuff, right? Again, your immune system gets into act. It does inflammation, goes back to the rest, right? So that's a normal process, because our body needs inflammation. Because if we are, experiencing foreign threats like viruses coming inside our body, and we have immune system goes and kills. So that's fine. But when we are regularly eating bad things, right? Or stress or environment, or maybe industrial elevation. There are a number of reasons. Or maybe depleting soil health also, we are not getting the right kind of foods, right? So essentially, these microbes start releasing bad things. Right? And your body is constantly, immune system is constantly on alert mode, constantly inflammation, right? So this is what we call as, then you start having symptoms, and that's why we call it disease, right? We classify them as disease because a lot of people don't know how to treat them. So let's do one thing, let's suppress them. So there is a drug for every symptom. So you go to doctor, you have a headache, they will give you a drug. If you have a high cholesterol, they will give you statin, right?
So
you have, yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. That's a very beautiful point, which is coming to my mind is, so doctor is giving drug for everything. Now, I want to know from you that, when these drugs are given, how does it impact gut microbiome and what are the implications of this?
Okay. So there are multiple things. Let's assume if we are taking drugs like metformin or antibiotic agent like GLP-1, right, which is essentially to control diabetes, right? So essentially what happens is most of the drugs again are metabolized by a microbiome, right? So if we don't have specific bacteria which can actually metabolize these drugs into useful things, right? These drugs will either going to kill lot of folks inside your gut, or are not going to be rendered ineffective, right? So essentially, or even if it is happening, it will start having some side effects. So you may suppress one symptom, you will develop three more, right? For instance, if you have an autoimmune disorder like Hashimoto's, right? So you will be given immune suppressions, right? So doctor will say, with this, we'll suppress your immune system. When you suppress your immune system, something else comes up because your body is not, body is against not protected, right? Again, they will give you drugs. So when they will give you drugs, you will start having vitamin and mineral deficiencies, right? And then they will give you more supplements. So this goes on and on, right? So essentially what we,
So holding on to this thought again, for the benefit of audience. So I have seen people taking multivitamins all the time. So is it a good way? And I have seen they're doing excess, and it will, I'm sure it will impact the microbiome inside. And these are all mostly chemically derived drugs, So I am of a firm opinion that it will disbalance your microflora inside gut. So what
so let me explain to you in detail about this. So when we talk of supplement, first thing is, why do we need supplements, right? We need supplements because we are not getting the right kind of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants from the food we are eating. So there can be numerous reasons. One can be low bioavailability of foods. For instance, magnesium bioavailability has gone down in our foods because of depleting soil health by 75%, right? Or it can be dysregulated biological machinery inside the body. Why it happens is because level of inflammation, right? So essentially, when your body is experiencing a lot of symptoms and inflammation, your body doesn't have the right kind of enzymes to digest the food, right? For instance, then probably you would be taking these supplements. Now the issue with these supplements is there are two major issues. One is for every category, if you need for weight loss, there's a different supplement. If for diabetes, there's a different supplement. For immune, there's a different supplement. For mitochondria, there's a different supplement, right? So essentially, if you want to address your entire body, you will end up having 500 different supplements. That's the first thing, right? And these supplements are made mass to scale. So how do you know what specific amount of supplement you require, right? Because you are taking, so if there is a capsule 500 mg of vitamin A, you are going to take that because you cannot break it down. That's how these are developed. Second thing is, when they're developed in synthetic form, right? They actually have a lot of heavy metals like leads and fluoride, right? Which can impact directly your kidney and liver function, which can directly create inflammation. So what you need to know is why I am having a deficiency, what is the reason, and what is the quantum of deficiency, whether I am having these supplements, are these supplements are going to be rightly absorbed in my body or going to excrete to feces, right? So there are multiple factors into play. Let me give an example. So there is a very, folate. Folate is a go-to supplement for females during pregnancy, right? So most of people think folate is akin to folic acid, right? Which is required, which is vitamin B9, which is required in our body, right?
Yeah.
So first thing is, all the B vitamins are metabolized by a microbiome. Our body cannot metabolize it.
Okay.
So when you are taking folate as a capsule, right, your gut is not competent to break it down and give you nutrients. So it goes to your liver, right? And in your liver, there are only very bioavailability of enzyme responsible for metabolizing folate is very low. So most of it either goes out through feces or it goes inside your body and start doing inflammation. So that's why a lot of females would be taking folate, medicines, supplements, which will not work, and they will have folate deficiency. They'll keep on taking. Similar thing for iron, So iron is one specific nutrient which is very difficult to excrete through feces. A very small part goes through it, right? And if you don't have a specific bacteria like lactobacillus fermentum inside your gut, we generally get, if you're not probably curd, a lot of people don't know that curd is very high in lactobacillus fermentum. So if you don't have that bacteria, the iron would get stored inside your body. So it can store in your skin, start doing eczema, it can store in your hearts, you start having heart pains, chest pains, right? So essentially, and then doctor will say, okay, you have low iron, you have low hemoglobin, start taking iron supplements. So you keep on taking it, keep on storing inside your body, right? And because we had some customers, even at 60 years of age customers, who had, eczema because of iron capsules. Because it got stored and they started having burning sensation and the skin pH level.
So Sushant, I think very good examples which you have given by giving iron deficiency and supplement and folic acid and multivitamin. Now coming back to how the whole process works, I know you have helped a lot of patients, and you are not going and very aggressively marketing right now, but you have a handful of customers. You have been engaging with several customers and you have helped them. How does the process works when a patient comes to you?
Okay, so most of our customers right now, right, have been people who are not coming from wellness, but mostly from preventative space or cure. So people who have diabetes, who have acid reflux, who have eczema, who have autism children, Parkinson's. So there are multiple customers. So essentially, what we do is, first thing is we need to understand. So before the process, what we need to understand is that when we know these microbes are doing bad and good things inside our body, so we need to understand not only who are there, right? What percentage of each bacteria, each microbe is there, but who are active, what they are doing, what they are producing. It's like functional, like you and me and talking, there have been interaction inside our body. There are a lot of biochemical signals goes in within the microbes. We need to decode that interactions at a molecular level, right? If we have bad people, right, we don't have to feed them, right? If we have good people, we have to feed more good people, right? So essentially what we do is, when we talk of sequencing, so we are taking your biological sample, which starts with your biological sample. So essentially we take your small bit of poop sample, we actually get it sequenced using next generation sequencing technology. So we get to know the which specific bacteria, microbes, viruses are there inside your body, right? And blending this data with the your own phenotype data, we understand the entire gene's expression level, right? So when we understand the entire gene's expression level, we actually can decode what specific thing is causing inflammation inside your body, right? So because same symptom can be for different diseases and different symptom can be for same disease, right? It is very unique for every individual. So every individual has only 5% common. Right? So no two people have more than 5% of the microbiome common, right? So 95% is unique. So when we understand which specific bacteria, what they are doing, we map them with various biological functions, various biological pathways. We can see what is the activity level of each microbe, each pathway, and then determine, okay, if I'm going to suppose, if you have an oxalate metabolism, low oxalate metabolism, if I'm going to give you spinach, what is going to come out? Spinach is high in iron, vitamin D, vitamin B12, but it also have oxalate, right? So if you don't have specific bacteria like oxalobacter formigene, right? So essentially, your body cannot neutralize this oxalic acid. It will start go in your bloodstream, start hitting your, you'll start having joint pains and back pains and kidney stones, right? So essentially, this can also be because of uric acid or because of oxalate. But we don't understand. So most of the people, when they have joint pain, they'll say, okay, your uric acid is high, your urea is high, stop eating protein and stop eating, animal foods and all. But we can tell you which specific thing is causing inflammation, which specific food, which specific molecule, right? When we decode that, we can tell you what you should eat, what you should minimize, what you should avoid, what you should moderate. Even what specific supplements, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, prebiotics, probiotics, in what quantity and in what frequency you should take, which is precise for your body,
Yeah.
right? For your individual body.
Yeah. So I'm kind of summarizing for the benefit of audience. So what you are going to do is you are going to take a biological sample here, which is poop in this case, and then based on that you will have microbiome sequencing analysis, and based on that you are going to have diet recommendations so as to restore back the microbial balance in the gut. Correct?
Yeah.
And if I understand correctly, you have product which is for normal gut microbiome. Then you have also launched a second product which is on vaginal microflora. So how would you like to talk about it?
So vaginal is again a very special product for us because, see, first of all, in Asia, there's no one who is working on the vaginal microbiome front, right? So
Yeah.
again, female vagina have around 10 billion of microbes, right? And they also interact with gut microbiome. So essentially, these microbes are responsible for various infections, UTI, yeast infections, even infertility issues, even ovarian cancers and multiple other pre-birth issues and, other infectious issues. So essentially, the current healthcare system has never focused on female, and female were never a part of the research studies, right? So all these solutions or all the interventions which have been developed are taking point of view of a male counterpart, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, most of the drugs which are given to females fail 90% of the time. Right?
Yeah.
So essentially, because the healthcare practitioners have missed out studying the vital aspect, the microbiome.
Yeah.
Vaginal microbiome. So what we do is we sequence both gut and vaginal microbiome, and then we actually similar process. We give them 45 plus biological pathways. We map them with various foods, and we give them foods and prebiotics and probiotics and supplement interventions. Right. So going forward, we'll be also planning to build precision formula. So we will be understanding what specific nutrients supplements you need. We'll be making it precise in your quantity and giving you for a per day intake, right? So essentially, it will help you overcome all the current issues with the supplementation market right now.
Perfect.
Right? So right.
Yeah. So because of paucity of time, I think we have just 2-3 minutes left now. Everyone talks about blood works. Kuch bhi hota hai, people say that okay, get your blood analysis done. How far you think is the right approach, and what gets missed?
Okay, so let us compare this with the management consulting, job. What we generally do, we actually break down the problem into few parts, and we start with the underlying cause, right? And we don't start with KR. This is the result, so let's do a back of the envelope calculation. This is the problem with the blood work versus understanding your body at a molecular level. So when you are doing blood work, blood work is the post-mortem, is the end result.
Yeah.
So when you are doing blood work, first there are multiple issues. First thing is it tells you something is bad, but it tell you what has caused it. Right? Yeah. Second thing is the diagnostic market is actually not well versed developed, because every sample goes through 40 different steps of the entire analysis. So the way it is handled, processed, stored, transported have a bearing on a test result. So you go to 2 different labs, you'll have 2 different results. Right? Third thing is the range is so high that even if it's normal, it may be abnormal. Right? And a lot of things doesn't come up. For instance, if you have just take an example of uric acid again. If you have joint pain and kidney stones, doctor will say, okay, check your urea levels. But if urea level is normal, doctor has no answers to it. Because it can be because of oxalate, it can be because of uric, it can be LPS, it can be fructose also. Right? So there are multiple reasons. So the blood work cannot decode all this. So essentially what I would recommend everyone is, so understand their microbiome, understand what is happening at a molecular level. When you fix your microbiome, your blood work will automatically be fixed, rather than doing a back of the envelope, calculation and just.
Excellent. Very good example. So Sushant, what we are going to do is, first of all, thank you very much for your valuable time and the way you tried to explain. And I think we will have a couple of more sessions for benefit of audience, how the whole thing works, how many people have been positively impacted out of this exercise. So I'm going to call you again, but I would really like to congratulate you for taking a very beautiful path and journey which can help a lot of patients. A lot of people can immensely benefit out of your approach. So thank you very much for your time today, and I am going to
Thank you,
call
sir.
you again. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you.